Stephanie White, the Fever coach, stood up for her team.
Indiana Fever went down in a hard fought.
I thought she got fouled, and I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim, and the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
WNBA referees definitely have an agenda against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
The refereeing, we know it was terrible.
The referees completely just ruined the game.
Just now, something ridiculous occurred. Caitlin Clark was robbed once more in a game that ought to have been a decisive victory for the Indiana Fever, and this time her own coach Stephanie White had had enough.
Many fans blaming the referees for their horrible officiating at the end of the game. Coach Stephanie White continues to play Caitlin off the ball, and it seems like she starts playing Caitlin off the ball when Caitlin is getting face guarded or when the defense is becoming more physical with her.
She didn't hold back. She publicly criticized the referees for their flagrant disrespect and revealed the precise way in which Clark is being singled out.
The blatant disrespect in this footage right here, bro. That is a WNBA referee turning his back to Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
The agenda is evident and captured on tape, from missed fouls to game-deciding no calls. This goes beyond poor officiating. The stillness has ended, and this is a pattern. The world needs to hear us clearly, so if you're all for Caitlin, please leave a comment saying so right now. She is the team's leader. You can tell something serious is happening when a head coach takes the stage and dares to publicly criticize the officiating in a professional league, and that's exactly what occurred.
One of the worst referee games I've ever seen down the stretch.
Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, wasn't holding back when she labeled it heinous. After the game, her exact words sum it up perfectly. A 31-point difference in free throws, and our team's current level of contempt has been fairly astounding.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways. But we also can't allow that to consume us, right? Like, we've got to be able to play through that. We've got to be able to control the things that we can control. I felt like at times our late game execution was good, and I consider most of the latter half of the fourth quarter, because it was a tight ball game. We're still not recognizing our mismatches. I felt like AB had plenty of opportunities. We could have gotten her touches down low, and we had some turnovers, key turnovers. We settled at times. We fought, but we can't dig ourselves a hole from the beginning.
She demanded respect, and she blasted the ref.
She went on to say that the Fever was attacking the rim rather than just jacking up threes. This wasn't annoyance, so why weren't they receiving the calls? Why was the whistle snorted each time Caitlin Clark drove to the basket or had her body checked? A boiling point was reached. Usually measured in her remarks, Stephanie White finally expressed what players, fans, and pundits have been observing all season. Caitlin Clark is the goal.
One of the weirdest, I'm not even going to say it was badly refereed until down the stretch, but it was one of the worst refereed games.
The message is obvious, whether it's a missed foul at the buzzer, hand checks that go unnoticed during play, or the officials' disdain for her long after the game is over. Not in a positive sense, she is being singled out.
So many levels, WNBA referees has cost Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever nearly a perfect record, bro.
This is where it becomes much more damning, though. White wasn't merely venting, she supported her claims with icy facts. Indiana has experienced a free throw difference of over 31 attempts in the past few games. It isn't a coincidence. That is a statistical red flag that goes against the integrity of the league. Additionally, when Clark serves as the league's spokesperson, drawing sizable audiences, viewership increases, and the WNBA gains widespread recognition.
Caitlin Clark got hacked in the last 2.9 seconds of the game. Caitlin Clark was hacked. No call. Should have been 3 free throws.
Doesn't get a whistle here.
See, if the referees get the call right, it's a totally different outcome.
Not only is this type of treatment unjust, but it is also unprofessional. Stephanie White made it very evident. This is a disrespectful pattern. White did more than just defend her team when she called it out. She defended her star. Clark needed this moment as a rookie who was already carrying the burden of the league, and at last, her coach supported her.
I've seen referees be talking to coaches, and then mid-conversation, just when they know they're in the wrong, mid-conversation, just turn around and start ignoring players.
The game clip shows the smoke escaping the building if Stephanie White's statements triggered the alarm. The proof is not nuanced. Anyone observing may see it clearly, and it presents an unsettling image. Referees are either ignoring or, worse, condoning the targeting of Caitlin Clark.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever.
Let's begin by discussing the conclusion of the most recent matchup with the New York Liberty. It's the final moments. As he attempts to open up for a game-tying shot, Clark, the Fever's final hope, emerges from a screen. Natasha Cloud greets her and does more than just defend. She hand checks, pushes, and grabs her throughout the court.
But this is what happened. Look, you see that grab there? That's a foul, guys. See that grab there? That's a foul, guys. That's reaching in, guys. Reaching in.
Clear screen captures and slow motion videos demonstrate Cloud's touch on Clark's hip, arm, and even across her stomach. Contact after contact occurs without a whistle. Although Clark's attempt is stopped as the play comes to a close, another opportunity was actually lost, and things get worse from here. Fans observed something eerie. Both Clark and Sophie Cunningham went over to the referees after the game to inquire about the no calls. They literally turned their backs on the officials.
Clark and Sophie are both running up to the referee here. They are both so upset, and the referee is just walking away from them. He won't even look at them in the face. He keeps turning. Like, Sophie even went up at one point and is like tapping on his arm. He would not even look at them. The referee should have enough confidence in the calls that they made to at least discuss. You should be able to at least discuss something with the player.
None of them looked at each other. Nobody gave them any recognition. It wasn't just a poor decision. It was outright contempt. This isn't an isolated incident. It's becoming a pattern. One even left as Clark tapped his arm in an effort to communicate.
Look, this proves they can play with the New York Liberty, okay? There were still times where Caitlin Clark played off the ball too much again in this game.
Let's be honest, if this had happened to another rookie or even a veteran without Clark's attention, perhaps the league could ignore it. Clark has been smacked in the face, shoved off her spot, dragged down off the ball, and the whistle has remained silent in several games this season. However, Caitlin Clark isn't just any player. She's the reason that millions of people watch, sell out road games, and propel the WNBA to levels it hasn't seen in decades. For this reason, it's not only unfair, but also suspicious when Clark is consistently denied calls that other players routinely receive.
Yeah, and that's probably what's frustrating about it too. It's like we are 2 possessions or, from being 4-0, but there was so many little areas in this game that we could have improved. Like our defense again to start the game was poor, and we got to find a way to come out with more energy, be able to guard. And yes, they present a very tough challenge when all 5 of them can make threes, and they're setting inverted ball screens, things like that. It's a challenge, but you got to find a way to do it if you want to win. If you want to win in this league, is you got to find a way to guard, you got to find a way to get stops. But yeah, I think you take that as a positive, you go back, you learn, but also we are 2 possessions away from being 4-0 and, a possession away from beating Liberty here. So, it definitely stings, but, this is what's going to make us better.
Things become stranger even within the game. Stephanie White has come under fire for occasionally playing Caitlin Clark off the ball. This is because defenses are so physical and aggressive that Clark is face guarded almost every possession. Rather than giving her the ball, she is frequently neutralized and even then singled out. She exploded with back-to-back threes, including a buzzer beater from the logo, when the Fever eventually allowed Clark to lead the offensive once more in the second half.
This was like a buzzer beater 3-pointer from the logo that really got the crowd going.
The momentum totally changed. What transpired next was that the officials retracted it. Dubious fouls on clean defensive plays, one of which gave the Liberty a 2-point lead in the closing seconds. Clark then provides an open shot for her teammate. On the subsequent possession, who is obviously fouled, but again, there is no call. Not to be overlooked are the numbers. In these games, the difference in free throws has been startling. New York made 32 free throws compared to Indiana's 15. In the Liberty game,
New York Liberty did not have a great game either. Sabrina Ionescu, her shooting was very inefficient. You know, looking at the box score here, Sabrina did come away with 23 points. That's good. But she shot 8 for 20 in the field and 2 for 8 at the 3. Brianna Stewart, she tried for 4 3-pointers, didn't make any of them. She went 4 for 11 from the field. And you know who did stand out though was Tosh Cloud, who went 6 for 9 from the field and 2 for 5 from.
that is more than twice as much. However, Indiana was the one assaulting the paint, making contact and tearing through bodies. However, it appears that every bump against Clark is clean, but every fever flick is disgusting. Why connecting? The dots is easy. In addition to upending the WNBA's established pecking order, Clark is a disruptive presence on the court. She is a media attraction with a new voice and face. Some people find that offensive, and whether on purpose or not, the officiating has turned into a tool for keeping her in check. Players on the other team are aware that they can rough her up and get away with it. The league is aware yet continues to remain mute. The referees are aware of her yet continue to ignore her. This is no longer about an occasional missed call. The coaches and fans see this methodical pattern of treatment, which aims to diminish the league's best player, but Caitlin Clark continues to lead her team, put up impressive stats, and fight through setbacks. However, how much longer can this go on before the league itself is affected?
Was horrendous. These WNBA referees need to be fined. Something needs to happen. I mean, the lack of calls against the New York Liberties was at an all-time high.
It's sometimes misunderstood that referees make those decisions about the style of play and interpretations of the rules. It's not true. It actually happens. We have a competition committee for stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers, and that competition committee is the committee that dictates the state of the game.
Fans didn't overlook Caitlin Clark, even though the refs did, and the anger is now booming on social media, YouTube, sports shows, and even mainstream media. What started out as rumors of unfair treatment has exploded into a full-fledged outcry, and people everywhere are calling for clarification. First, let's talk about the content producers, the foundation of fan-driven reporting from renowned analysts to fervent influencers. The message is consistent. Referees are disrespecting Caitlin Clark, and it appears to be deliberate. One creator flatly demanded that the WNBA hire NBA-level officials to restore some credibility after comparing the officiating to YMCA-level officials. Others have practically stopped posting their usual posts in order to show their support for Clark.
Yeah, when it comes to accepting, it's like we don't really have a choice because they're going to call what they want to call. And so for us, I mean, even for me, I miss some of those easy around the rim. I think for me, I have to put them in the rim for just post-talk.
One even proposed that the entire cast of the Indiana Fever should band together like the Avengers to fight the corruption of the officiating. Furthermore, they weren't kidding. Side-by-side videos have been all over social media. After Caitlin, Clark was thrashed without a call. The other players gave her a gentle whistle for hardly touching her. Supporters are tagging NBA players, the WNBA, and ESPN to urge those in positions of authority to speak up or take action. Free throws matter, Caitlin deserves protection, and 100% for Caitlin tweets and postings are spreading like wildfire. Furthermore, the figures are honest. Clips of the last no call on Clark from the most recent Liberty game alone went viral, receiving millions of views.
She goes up, she gets bodied by 2 players, and they call it a clean block. Now, you can't challenge this because there was a no call, but clearly DB thinks that there was some contact made, and there was some contact made to the body. If she got the clean block, fine, but there was contact made to her body. They called this a no call, and then they take the ball out of bounds here. This in turn went to Sabrina's foul, and then the New York Liberty are up 2 points.
In one slow motion breakdown, it was evident that Natasha Cloud made several points of contact with Clark, who grabbed her by the side with both hands to hold her before the ball even made contact with her fingertips. No foul Sabrina, meantime, was sent to the line for leaning into a defender and barely getting brushed.
The thing that won the New York Liberty the game was the foul on Sabrina when she takes it to the basket. As you guys can see here, Lexi Hall's guarding Sabrina. She goes straight up. Sabrina dips her shoulder a little bit and then flops to the ground.
The game was decided for New York by the call. It was clear. It was unavoidable. It was also enragement. However, it's no longer only YouTubers and fans. Professional commentators who had previously been reluctant to comment on the WNBA's officiating controversy are now publicly referring to this as a crisis of legitimacy. The league cannot continue to sell out arenas on Caitlin Clark's name while still allowing her to be treated as though she is unimportant, according to one expert on a national program. Another caution that the WNBA runs the danger of offending its largest audience to date and crowd that was mostly drawn in by Clark's appearance.
Clark came in cooking, guys. This is when things went downhill. So this is them calling a foul on Lexi Hall, right? This foul is determining, this foul right here was the reason they won the game. This foul right here, guys. The game was tight. It was like
she turns the corner and gets downhill. I don't know, Lexi Hall.
Additionally, people are becoming more conscious that this may involve more than just missed calls. It could have to do with resistance, opposition to the league's new face, opposition to a young white woman taking center stage in a league that has long fought for recognition and equality. Then be clear, Clark has never asserted that he is superior than the game. She takes her hits, continues to play, rarely expresses emotion to the referees, and never stops encouraging her team. But it poses more serious issues when one player is the target of both compliments and criticism. Why are referees swallowing whistles during Caitlin Clark's most crucial moments, and why is she held to a different standard?